get your step up. Put your microphone down. And
thank you.
Here we
go.
You
ready? Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great to be here with all of you for many, many, many reasons. I am so happy to be your First Lady, but today I am especially happy because even though our children, Kiara and Dante, are in college, I still get to experience the first day of school. And there's really nothing like it. On a day like this, you see a little bit of everything: joy and sadness, hope and fear, laughter and tears, and that's just from the parents. As I watched the students say goodbye and head into school today, I couldn't help but think about how Bill and I were feeling when we saw Dante off to college a few weeks ago, and how we're going to be feeling in a couple of weeks when Kiara heads off to her senior year in college. It's all so bittersweet. And I have to admit that Bill and I did shed some tears when Dante left. But more than anything, Bill and I are just so proud of the young people that we have raised, the young adults. Every parent should have the chance to experience that feeling, to see their child step off into the wider world with all the tools he or she needs to succeed. And that means every family should have access to pre-K, which study after study shows it plays a crucial role in a child's future success. Today, every New York family does finally have access to pre-K, which should fill us all with hope and pride. It is now my pleasure to introduce the man whose commitment to pre-K stretches back to our first day of school as public school parents, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
I was thinking of that day. I think it was 1997. Got to check my records. But yeah, for Charlene and I, this is a very, very special day in terms of the work we do and what we hope all our children can achieve in the city. But personally, it is a bittersweet day. The first day in many, many years that we haven't taken a kid to school from our own family. And the first day that we don't get that joy, that extraordinary feeling of what opening day is like for everyone. So I think, Charlene, we got a lot of the vicarious joy from the parents we met, and seeing children for the very first time coming to school, seeing the enthusiasm, the energy of a lot of these children, seeing the excitement of their parents, that was something wonderful. And we went into a classroom, and I gotta say, I was really struck by the ability of these kids, the energy, the fact that they were so excited to be in pre-K and were participating from the very beginning. So there's something very special happening here, and it's happening all over New York City today. That's the amazing thing about this day. This is a day that's been talked about literally for a generation. We've heard the phrase universal pre-K talked about for a generation, but it was never really true until today. This is a moment in history we need to reflect on, and we need to remember for the first time, any child, anywhere in the city, any 4-year-old can have full day pre-K for free. And it's just going to grow from here year after year and make our children and families stronger and make our city better. I want to thank a couple of our colleagues here today. I want to do a special thank you to a man who really was the architect of so much of what it took to pull this together so quickly last year and then build it further this year, Deputy Mayor Richard Bury. Thank you for your leadership. And then here at this extraordinary school, this is a newer school, and it's already a great success story, and part of it is because of great leadership. The founding principal, Carol Mongello, let's thank her. You have a fan club. There's a very good vibe. Let me give you my formal educational assessment. There's a very good vibe at PS 29. At 59. I'm about to talk about 29 as you. PS 59. PS 59 has a good vibe. I can tell there's a lot of parent engagement, a lot of feeling for the school. And These parents have really gone all out with these T-shirts. Look at the very cool logos. Let's give them a round of applause. PTA, we thank you. So let's just remember, this is a microcosm here today. This schoolyard, these parents bringing their children to school, it's happening all over the city. When we came into office, 20,000 kids had full-day pre-K. Today, 65,000 plus and growing. It's literally growing by the hour right now. More and more kids want to take full advantage. And I will take this moment to remind all of us, PTA members, help us out. If you know any parent who has a child who is 4 or about to turn 4, does not yet know they can have this for free, all they have to do is call 311 or go online, nyc.gov/pre-K, and they can literally sign up online, or when they call 311, they'll be connected to an enrollment specialist. And we keep finding parents who still haven't heard, and we welcome them. We're going to find, through going door to door and to communities all over this city, more and more parents who still don't know about this opportunity, but when they find out about it, they are quick to take advantage of it. Richard and I saw that. Charlene and I saw that a couple of weeks ago in East Flatbush. We found 2 parents who didn't know and literally signed up on the spot. So that's something we want to get the word out across this whole city. 65,000, what does that mean? That is as many children as in the entire school system of Boston or the entire school system of Seattle. That's the number of kids we have in pre-K today. And this school is a great example. There's so much energy here, and there's so much excitement because there's more pre-K than ever. You had 36 seats last year. You have 54 seats this year, full-day pre-K. Pre-K is the foundation. We're going to talk a lot more in the coming days about the other elements that are going to allow us to transform this school system. But pre-K is literally the foundation for each child, for each family, and for the change of this school system as a whole. Because imagine, now every child starts with that strong foundation. We couldn't have said that any other time in our history. Today we can say it. Every child starts with that strong educational foundation. And that's going to make a huge difference. And by the way, I've talked to a lot of parents who think first and foremost about their children and the future of their children, but they also have to think about their household budget. And they will tell you that saving the $10,000 or the $15,000 that they would have spent if it weren't for full-day pre-K being for free has changed their families' budgets and their families' lives. Can I get an amen, PTA? All right. One story I want to tell you, a young woman who is here at this school. I met her this morning. I want to talk about her parents, Christine Dueñas, and her partner, Watson. They are performing artists, and they have been, like so many artists, struggling to get by because the society doesn't exactly overpay artists. They would never have been able to ensure that their daughter Opal could go to this pre-K if they had had to pay for it. If they had had to go out and find a location and pay for it, they just wouldn't have been able to do it. But here, they can get high-quality pre-K for free. And Opal is starting school today, and as Christine said, it feels like we've won the lotto. I think there's parents all over New York City who have that same feeling today. So 65,000 young people, 65,000 families who have won the lotto, everyone winning the lotto at once. And it's a game changer for all of them. Let me say a few words in Spanish. Hoy es un gran día lleno de emociones para los niños, padres y madres de la ciudad de Nueva York. Por primera vez, todas las familias de la ciudad que quisieron un asiento de pre-kinder de alta calidad a tiempo completo y gratis lo tienen. Este año, más de 65,000 niños están participando en esta nueva era de pre-kinder para todos. Quiero desearles un feliz nuevo año escolar lleno de aprendizaje y descubrimientos a estos preescolares y a todos los estudiantes de la ciudad de Nueva York. With that, I want to turn to the leader of our school system, and I'm going to coin a phrase right now, very pertinent to this day. Carmen Farina, you're not getting older, you're getting better.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And I say that, I slipped earlier and I said PS 29 because Carmen Farina started out at a school I love and know very well, PS 29 in Brooklyn. She started out as a teacher there. And my friends, that was 50 years ago. This is her 50th anniversary in the New York City public school system. And she has literally a lifetime of wisdom and accomplishment, and that is why she is such a great leader. For all the teachers, for all the administrators, for everyone who makes up this school system, they have a leader who literally stood in their shoes, walked the walk, did everything that they are doing, and did it in exemplary fashion. And she has respect in every school in this city, which is why she's achieving so much. So I have a little presentation, Carmen. See if it's where it is supposed to. Yes, it is. Look at that. Carmen Farina, happy 50th anniversary.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. An apple for the teacher.
I didn't even think of that. An apple for the teacher. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our Chancellor, Carmen Farina.
Well, thank you. I love the first day of school, have always loved the first day of school. Generally do not sleep the night before, but I will tell you that I slept very well last night. And why? Because I think for the first time in many, many years in New York City, in fact, I don't ever remember when it happened, we have a partnership that makes things work. As I said yesterday in a webinar that went out to the entire city, today, every single child can be a summa cum laude graduate of college. Today, every teacher is going to reach her 50th anniversary as a teacher. Every principal will actually get thank you letters from the PTA in June and saying you did a great job. Carol, let me know if it happens, okay? Today, all is possible. And why is it possible? For many reasons. We have recommitted ourselves to our students, but most importantly, we are working with the people who make this possible. I want to say special thank you to Ernie Logan and Michael Mulgrew for their commitment to the work that we're doing together, and also understanding today, and I was asking Ernie if it's really just my imagination, we actually have a principal in every single school in New York City. 1,600 schools, first time ever, we're opening with a sitting principal in every school. And the amount of teachers in New York City compared to the rest of the country, we had more teachers apply for jobs than we had jobs for them. We do not have a teacher shortage in New York City, and one of the reasons is we brought dignity back, we brought professional development back, and more importantly, everyone here has to do their job to make sure that we celebrate what's working. And sometimes we get blips along the road, but that's just what they are, blips. Together, we can make this happen. And I couldn't say enough about the mayor's commitment to pre-K. You know, even I thought, oh my God, are we going to get this done? But the reality is, not only with the mayor and deputy mayors, well, we did sleep all the time. And city council members, you know, we're working as a unit. I mean, I now know every borough president very well, and city council, because together in New York City, everything is possible. So I'm thrilled to be here today. I don't feel it's my 50th year, I have to be very honest, because I feel my life has come full circle, and that's what this is all about. So I thank you, and I look forward to a phenomenal year.
Thank you. Carmen Farina has many fans. One of her biggest fans is the borough president of Staten Island. And I want to thank Borough President Jimmy Otto for being a partner. Pre-K expansion in Staten Island has been a big effort. It's made a big impact. And the Borough President has been our partner in that effort. Step forward, Mr. Borough President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let me just begin by mentioning that I did notice the fact that the mayor somehow got the word Boston into his speech this morning. Secondly, I too am nervous on the first day of school, even as an adult, because I figure somebody somewhere has gone through the roster and realized that I still owe them a couple of dozen timeouts and some detention, and I figure they're going to come get me one day. I just want to thank the mayor and the chancellor and the first lady and their team for all the work they are doing. This city has lots of challenges like every city, and the solution to many of them is found in those classrooms. And Whether you have a child of school age, whether your children are in the public school, all of us as New Yorkers have a vested interest in the success of our schools. So you should be rooting for this team and the wonderful things that they are doing. And I just simply want to say to everyone at PS 59 and the schools across Staten Island and to the mayor and his team that I'm all in with them to make sure that we do really good things on the front end. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good luck to everyone on the school year.
Thank you. Thank you. I also want to thank our partners in this work, the men who represent so many of the folks who do the work of educating our children, and we honor our educators, and we believe in our educators. Let's first hear from the president of the UFT, Michael Mulgrew.
Happy school year, everybody. That's what we like to do on the first day of school. It is the school year, and right now there are over 1 million students having their first day, and you have tens of thousands of teachers who are having their first day of school. And I want to thank the mayor and the First Lady for their commitment, first and foremost, to what we're celebrating here today, which is pre-K. And this morning, I had the wonderful opportunity to watch a teacher on her first day of school, first day ever as a teacher, teach with Carmen Farina. Congratulations on your 50 years of experience, the mayor and the First Lady. And she didn't miss a beat. She was perfectly calm, knew exactly what she needed to do, but as I told her, this is a tough profession. And always ask for help, because what I would like to say to all the new teachers, almost 5,000 new teachers this year, is don't forget, ask for help when you need it. But more importantly, we want you to stay. We want our teachers, and when we train them, to stay in our schools. And to pre-K, I want to put this in its correct context. This is probably the single biggest accomplishment in education in this country in the last 2 years. And people need to understand that. We went from a promise, a campaign promise, to creating a pre-K program that is the largest in the country, and as the mayor said, expanded it more than some of the largest cities in this country, and he did it, him and his team, so I congratulate all of them. But as we move forward, I just want to remember one thing. Millions of miracles happen every day in our classrooms across this city. And this is the year, as the Chancellor said, that we want to celebrate all of the great things that happen in our school system. We want to celebrate our children and their accomplishments. We want to celebrate all the education people who come in each and every day with one thing in mind. They want to help children, and they want to make this a better world. So thank you all very much.
And it's a good day for Ernie Logan because he's getting to see a great principal in action and a school that is working as an example to all of us of what's possible in the New York City public schools. We welcome the president of the CSA, Ernie Logan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is indeed a great day. I said to the Chancellor this morning, you know, I was a little edgy because as a teacher, principal, the first day of school is always, I'm up early, I'm ready to go. I'm waiting for somebody to put their gun up and we're gonna, pshoom. So I was up ready to go, I was excited. I walked in here this morning and I was so excited to meet a great educator, a great school, and parents and children who were excited to be here today. But I think the borough president said it best. So many things that are solutions to our city, to our country, happen in our classrooms. And so I asked today for the community support to help us to make schools really work. That means that we need to engage our parents. We need parents to come into our schools, to be part of our schools. We need our community leaders to be in our schools. We need our business people to be in our schools. And the first step, yes, is now we got universal, high-quality early childhood for every 4-year-old in this city. There is no excuse for a 4-year-old not being in school. And there's no excuse for us not pushing it more and more and expanding it and letting it grow, because that's the basis. Look at the study. You'll have naysayers say it doesn't make a difference. But all of the studies say high-quality universal pre-K reduces recidivism because children don't go to jail when they've had a high-quality education. It stops dropouts. It makes really good citizens, productive citizens. And we need to do that. We need to support this. So I need to commend the mayor. He stuck with it when people said it couldn't be done. And imagine 65,000 children starting today, universal pre-K. What a wonderful example of what can happen when we all work together to make something happen. So let's have a great school year. Chancellor, you know I love you. Your 50th year, my 43rd. We're really doing something, aren't we?
Finally, I want you to hear from the council member who represents this district. And Debbie, you have a lot to be proud of today. You have a great school here. You have great parents who are engaged. And parents, I just want to say, even though Charlene and I no longer have the mantle of being active New York City public school parents, we know parent involvement is one of the biggest plus factors, one of the biggest things that make a school great. So we say, God bless you all for what you are doing for this school. And with that, our council member representing this district, Debbie Rhodes.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning because you are witnessing a sea change. You are witnessing a change in the paradigm in education. You will see the benefits of what having universal pre-care will do and what the results will be. It is going to be transformational. I want to thank my parents and my teachers and the administration for having the good sense to see this through, to make this a reality. You know, the mayor had a hard time. This was not an easy thing. The chancellor had a hard time, but people saw the value in this, and we are going to reap the benefits of their wise decisions. I want to say to Carol, 3 years ago, we stood here and we had a vision. She had a vision, and we talked about the possibilities here at the Harbor View School. And to stand here today, 3 very short years, having this be a reality where all of our 4-year-olds have the advantage of getting a quality early education is something that I want to thank her for her vision and for her leadership here at the Harbor View School. I also just want to say thank you, because today I know we're here and I've seen tears of joy, tears of fear, and tears of excitement. And those tears are going to pay off because today is the first day of their journey into an educational experience that will be matched no other place. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Before we take questions on this topic, we were just doing a little research. Last year in this borough of Staten Island, 3,299 kids, 3,299 in full-day pre-K. This year, 4,837. So that's 1,500 more kids in Staten Island in full-day pre-K. We're very, very happy about that. We welcome now on this topic. We welcome your questions on this topic. Yes.
So I know today is a celebration of pre-K for year 2. I'm wondering how much you guys are looking beyond the first day of school for the actual academic year at renewal schools. Some of your critics have said it's really time to double down on renewal schools. Is this your sort of top academic priority for the year? How much are you thinking about those schools?
Well, we'll have a lot more to say in the coming weeks. We're obviously going to talk a lot about education in the month of September as school begins. Renewal schools are a huge focus for us, and we're very, very excited about the progress that's already happening in the renewal schools. And I'll give you a lot more detail in the coming days on that. So we're focused on making the renewal schools work because we've invested in them in a way that's never been done before. Again, let's be blunt, a lot of those schools were left without the support and resources they needed. A lot of those schools happen to be in disadvantaged communities. We're changing that. We're giving them the support so they can succeed. We are thrilled about what's going on with community schools, and this is one of the most exciting things happening, I think, in American education, and now it's going to be happening on a very big scale here in New York City. We are thrilled about the fact that for middle school kids, every middle school kid who wants an after-school seat will have it this year. Hasn't gotten as much media attention, but let's be clear. Every middle school child who wants an after-school seat will have it for free this year. Pre-K, obviously, is a foundation for all of what we're planning to do. But there's some other pieces we're going to be talking about in the next few weeks about how we strengthen the school system overall. Yes?
Mayor, at one point I think you had mentioned a number of 73,000 as the estimate of pre-K seats. Can you just sort of explain the difference between that and the 65 today? And then you mentioned people can still sign up. Until when can you still sign up?
Sure. We're at about 65,500 at this minute. But again, this is literally a number that's going to change day by day from this point forward. This is what we saw last year, too. A lot of parents came in the first week or two, but some parents signed up even well into October. And we will certainly welcome them. So the original estimate was we could go as high as 73. I think at this point we're obviously going to be in the high 60s, but we don't know for sure until we get there. But what we have is a seat for everyone. And this effort is going to continue year after year, meaning whatever number of children want full-day pre-K, whatever number of parents want to sign up their children for full-day pre-K from this point on, it is guaranteed to them. So I think you'll see variations year by year. But I also think what you're going to see is there's a big word-of-mouth thing happening. I have witnesses here that as parents experience full-day pre-K, they tell their friends, their neighbors, their family members, and more parents want to take advantage of it. So this number is going to grow this year, and I'm not going to be surprised if it continues to grow in future years.
Deadline to sign up.
A pure deadline, explain how it works.
Yeah, so let me take a minute just to explain the whole process. So families apply for a pre-kindergarten seat. They're made an offer, and that 65,000 number, those are the number of families who've actually registered, which mean that they've taken the affirmative step of bringing their paperwork in and actually signing their kid up to school. It's an ongoing process, so as the mayor said, families can continue to apply really well into September and October. We don't really stabilize final admissions to the end of October, and so families should continue to dial 311, nyc.gov pre-K. There are literally seats in every single neighborhood of New York City, so there is no 4-year-old who will be turned away this year.
Let me just add that the reason parents should act quickly, and again, talk to some of the parents here who will tell you, if you want the seat that works for you best, that's nearest to your home or nearest to your work, the faster you act, the more chance you'll get the seat you want. But every child is guaranteed a seat in their district under all circumstances. Yes?
What's the total number of eligible 4-year-olds in New York City for pre-K?
Richard.
There are approximately 100,000 4-year-olds. And again, as you can imagine, just like not every child enters public kindergarten, not every child enters public pre-K. And so, again, we have enough capacity to meet every child that can considerably come up. And as the mayor said, we think it'll be somewhere in the upper 6,000s, 60,000s, but we won't really know until families actually show up and enroll. Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, this whole ritual of the first day of school, what are you going to miss most about, with your empty nesters now? What part of that ritual do you guys think you'll miss the most?
It's very, Charlene may have her own views. I'll start. It's very exciting. I think we can say our children keep us young, and we live through their lives in so many ways as parents. And the first day of school is always filled with hope. You see a child's growth each year, and as they get ready for the next step, there's something very powerful and exciting about it. So for me, especially when they were younger, it was amazing. I remember the beginning for Kiara and Dante in pre-K was so exciting, and they were ready, just like the kids we saw today. It's one of those moments where you can feel them grow before your very eyes, and that's what every parent dreams about. Would you like to add?
Sure. There are so many things I'm going to miss. Learning is fun, and I think one of the first things I miss is just find out what they're going to be learning about, what they're going to focus on during the school year, the books that they'll be reading, and sharing those books with them, reading at night. Finding out who their new friends are and why they like this one or that one, and having those friends come to our house and hang out. School is just an expanding experience for children, but it's expanding for the parents as well. I was learning as they were learning. There are things that they studied that even from in pre-K that I would never have known about if I didn't have the opportunity to talk with them, talk with their teachers about what they were doing in the classroom. And I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, and the borough president just reminded me that the Pete the cat, I said I never would have read about Pete the cat. He said, remember, he had red shoes, not red socks. I think that was very witty, very insightful. But Pete the cat brought something new to my life today. Good morning.
The weather challenge today. Many schools in the suburbs actually closed or are closing early. How does the city deal with this? I know it's probably only hopefully a one-day thing, but how does it deal with the hot weather and with the children inside?
I'll let the chancellor speak to that. I mean, look, we're always sensitive to weather dynamics, and we take precautions, always making sure kids are hydrated, one of the key things. But we feel good about today and being able to make sure today goes smoothly.
One of the advantages of someone who's been in the system 50 years, I remember when there was no air conditioning whatsoever. So, like I say to my children, and I gave my grandchildren the other day the story of all the things they have that I never had, and I managed to survive. So, certainly the recommendation today is a lot of water. Asking kids to come to school with water bottles, also water drinks, water fountains in schools, and making sure that also that students, don't go outside and play for too long in the sun like all of you are sitting here right now boiling. So it's just about being smart and safe, but the reality is half the world doesn't have air conditioning and they do survive. So I do think this is part of it. But teachers are very much aware of the precautions they need to take today.
I also want to note, when she was a child, Carmen Frenia walked to school barefoot. Uphill both ways. Uphill both ways, so we don't know what you're complaining about.
Mayor, Mr. Mulgrew mentioned this being the single biggest accomplishment in education the last couple of years. What kind of impact do you think New York City will have in this program nationwide?
Look, I will borrow from the famous song, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. This is a school system that certainly has its share of challenges and always had. But we're proving you can do something big and new and bold here. And this is for everyone. Every child, doesn't matter what neighborhood you're from, what background you're from, what language you speak, every child is welcome in full-day pre-K. And I think that proves that there are big things yet to be done in education, and New York City is going to show just how far we can go. I also think what you're going to see in just the next few years is these children having this strong foundation is going to change the whole school system. It's like a huge variable in the equation. When I came to office, 20,000 kids had full-day pre-K. Now 65,000 kids. That's going to have a structural impact on the school system going forward. So I think what you'll see is cities around the country are going to look to see what they can do next. We've had interest from a lot of cities, and I believe we're moving towards a day in this nation where pre-K is going to become the norm. It's going to become the assumption, just like once upon a time, first grade had to be established as something for everyone, then kindergarten. In today's day and age, I think we're moving towards a society where pre-K for all can and should be the norm.
How do you judge the success?
We evaluate it constantly because we want to make sure it's the best it can be. By the way, that means, we've been very selective about our teachers who will be teaching, who have a focus on early childhood education in terms of their preparation. We're going to constantly look to see what they need in terms of training and professional development. We're going to look and see the results. We're going to see how it moves our kindergarten classes the next year. And we're going to bring in, and we have been bringing in, outside evaluation firms to help us do that. But this is something that we see as, again, I always use the building a house analogy. If you're going to build a house, you first lay the foundation. This has to work so everything above it can work. So we want it to be the highest quality.
Can you talk about some of the things you're going to be doing this month to get the word out, to get those pre-K seats filled, especially in order to reach communities?
Sure, absolutely. I'll start, and Richard, you may want to jump in on this. So as I mentioned, Richard and Charlene and I were out in East Flatbush a week or two ago, literally going through beauty salons and barber shops on a weekend. And it's amazing when you walk up to parents and you say, hey, we want you to know what this is, what it could do for your child. It's free. It's nearby. Parents immediately become interested. And in the busyness of modern life, even with all the promotional activities, some parents just hadn't heard, or they didn't know it was free. I mean, it's not an unfair assumption. Again, I'll look at my fellow parents. If you hear, here's this thing that's too good to be true, you don't always assume it's free. But it actually is free. And so a lot of parents needed to be reassured that was the case. So we are going in neighborhoods where the enrollment hasn't been what we think it should be. We've been going door to door. We've been working with clergy and community leaders. You want to add?
Absolutely. So my favorite movie is Field of Dreams, keeping with the baseball theme. So, they said, if you build it, they will come. So we've taken the exact opposite approach. So we have a very intense outreach effort to ensure that parents are aware of the pre-kindergarten opportunity. So that includes a number of things. We have done robocalls to 1 million families. We have had live staff make 400,000 phone calls. This is a person-to-person phone call to families. These are not cold calls. These are families that we have reason to believe from public records or other records have a 4-year-old in their home. Literally hundreds of events around the city. And as the mayor was said, lots of focus work now as we get into the beginning of the school year in certain neighborhoods like Central Brooklyn, where we really want to make sure that families are taking advantage of the opportunity, ongoing efforts with clergy, with community groups, door to door. So it is very much an on-the-ground grassroots campaign effort involving paid media, free media, door knocking, and phone calls. And as you can see by the numbers, we are finding families, and we're really excited that families are sending their beautiful 4-year-olds to us this year.
Okay. Last, yes. Then we'll come over to Lindsay. Now let's do 2.
There have been some stories in Chalkbeat and elsewhere, and the chancellor has commented on them, about reviewing enrollment policies to try to reduce segregation. Can you talk specifically about what you envision to address that issue in New York City?
I think some of that is already happening, thank God, because we have such vibrant choices throughout our school system. And again, Charlene and I experienced that at both the middle school level and the high school level. But I think pre-K is adding a new element. I think after school for all middle school kids is adding a new element. You looked at a schoolyard today, wonderful United Nations of children. And this is an opportunity when you say to people, here's something that didn't used to exist for you, that's now available and free and high quality. It brings in all sorts of people, every background. And then the children start learning together and experiencing things together, and the parents start getting to know each other. So I think these are exactly the kinds of things that will help to bring people together more and bring particularly children into an awareness of all the other types of people that make up the city.
I mean, specific changes in enrollment policies that you might envision, such as set-asides per school for low-income children, that kind of
Well,
thing?
again, I think I'm starting with what we have, which I think is having an impact. We're certainly going to always look at other options, but I think what we're starting with is strong. You want to add in any way?
We're studying.
Here, come on over.
We're studying a lot of things. Come in on Saturdays to have these discussions. But the reality is diversity is beyond ethnicity and beyond socioeconomic. It's also about English language learners. It's about special needs kids. We have 40 dual language programs starting today in New York City, which is actually putting together in our schools kids who speak English only with kids who speak another language and may learn English or can also learn English. So we really feel we're putting a lot of initiatives. We have a lot of high schools that we're saying more fair share of special ed kids rather. So I think diversity has many, many facets. And one of the things that we'll be talking to parents about is having sister schools. We now have a new head of family engagement, and one of the charges that I gave Yolanda Torres is to figure out how we get parents across the city to talk to each other, not just in their own neighborhoods. So I do think that's part of what we're looking at, and I think there'll be a lot more to come.
I have a update on Richard Bury's device here. Mr. Borough President, we told you this year 4,837 kids so far registered for full-day pre-K in Staten Island. Last year was 3,299. 2 years ago, when I had the honor of taking this office, the number of Staten Island children in full-day pre-K was 800. So Staten Island's had a huge jump. I hope you don't mind that Staten Island's had a disproportionately strong jump in pre-K. You okay with that? Okay, Debbie, you okay with that?
We're fine with that.
Okay, Lindsay.
Can you tell us what you're going to do this year to shore up kind of a long-term renewal of mayoral control?
I think mayoral control is working. I think it worked under Mayor Bloomberg. It's working in this administration because it's allowing us to improve the school system. There is no way we could have achieved full-day pre-K for all without mayoral control. There's just no way it would have been physically possible. There's no way we could have had after school for every middle school student, or community schools, or renewal schools, or so many of the things that we're moving. So the proof's in the pudding. You know, the facts on the ground. Obviously, we're thrilled that there's been progress on test scores. We want to go a lot farther. All of that is made possible by mayoral control. And I think it's clear that there is no good alternative. And that's part of what we're going to show people here and in Albany. We're not going back to the bad days of chaos and corruption, and that's what it was. I saw it with my own eyes. What we had with the previous model, in too many cases, led to a dysfunctional school system, and in too many cases, sadly, at least in some districts, led to corruption. Mayoral control of education works, and we're going to make the case, and we're going to prove it with facts. Thanks, everyone.